Welcome, my name is Andy from H2E, and in today's video I would like to introduce you to our new Brown's gas machine. So we already sell a Brown's gas machine, but there are a whole host of unique features to this machine that means it might be the one for you. So just to list a few of those features before I then show them to you. To start with, it has a slightly bigger water tank, so it means that you don't need to top it up with water as often. It does run a little bit quieter, and also the screen display can be dimmed a little bit in what we call night mode. So if you're using the machine during the night, which a lot of people like to do, it's not going to keep you awake with a bright display on the screen. It also, and this is probably its main feature, it has multiple outputs which allow you to have more than one person using the machine. And so here we have a little bit more of a close-up of the machine, and you can see here on the front you've got your water tank, and this is an output on this side, and we have one on the other side, so you can have two users. So on this side you can see that you've got two little outputs here. So one of these is oxygen and one of these is hydrogen, and if they're both connected into the top of here, you can attach a cannula or a water stone here, and that can be then used by one person. And then on the other side we just have one output, which is for hydrogen. So this person here on this side could use this to just breathe in the hydrogen. So the options are, one person could be having hydrogen, and the other person could be either just having hydrogen, or they could combine it with the oxygen to make Brown's gas. And so therefore you can use it with two different people. Now if you wanted to, you could take all three outputs from this side and the other side and feed them into one bottle, into one of these, and then one person can breathe out a much higher output, and that's an option as well. So I'm going to show you that in a moment. And then above here you can see we have this lovely display, and very similar to the display on our other Brown's gas machine, you have a water purity indicator here, which is flashing in the green, which is telling you that the water is pure. You've got something that indicates if the water's too low here. This will tell you if you've overfilled it. You've got something here that will tell you if you need to change the filter. This will tell you if the machine is not balanced properly. So if I tilt the machine, it will start to indicate that it's not flat. And you can see it was flashing at the same time as well. We've got something that tells you if the machine is overheating, and it might need to just be switched off and given time to cool down. So that often happens if it's a very hot climate, or you've been using the machine for a really long amount of time, sort of like 9 or 10 hours. And overpressure is usually if there's a pinch in the cannula or the tubing somewhere, and it usually means that you need to just check the tubing and make sure nothing's kind of pinching on the tubing. So it means that the Brown's gas is usually backing up into the machine. And then here you have the place where you unscrew and you can put your water in there. So the machine runs with distilled water. And so there we have a lovely, very elegantly designed machine. So what I've done is I've used tubes to connect the outputs from here and here, and also from this side into this. So this is a connector where I've attached everything into one place, and then one of those tubes is connecting into the top of this bottle, and then I've plugged in the water stone. So this is going to put the complete total output of oxygen and hydrogen into the water stone. So the complete output, if everything is run through one bottle, is an output of 900 millilitres per minute. And of that, 600 millilitres per minute is hydrogen and 300 millilitres per minute is oxygen, and that gives you the golden ratio for Brown's gas, which is kind of 33.3% oxygen and 66.6% hydrogen. So if I show you, I'm going to switch that on now, so I can just put all of that out the way, down the back, and all I'm going to do is just go to the start button, press it once, and we can see that everything starts to operate. If we come down to here, in a moment that will start to bubble, and it can take sometimes 20 seconds or so for it to work, and there you can see the bubbling, and then pretty soon after that we start to see the bubbling into the water here. So when you fill your machine up, the water that goes into the tank here is distilled water, and when you fill up this is also filled up with distilled water. But when you're making Brown's gas water, you can use more or less any water as long as it's not tap water. So you could use something like spring water, you can use mineral water, you could use filtered water that just comes from a standard kind of Brita filter, but just avoid using tap water because there's too many contaminants in it. So you can see in here there's some, very powerful bubbling away, and that's a really good output of Brown's gas. And so drinking Brown's gas will give you all the benefits of hydrogen going into your gut. It will give you the benefits of oxygenation, and if you've watched some of our other videos, I talk a little bit about what's called electrically expanded water, and so that's something you get when you make Brown's gas, which is also going into the system. So electrically expanded water is kind of electrons in a plasma state, and that there's benefits from that as well. So there's kind of multiple benefits from Brown's gas that you won't get from just hydrogen alone. So what I've done now is I have reconfigured the tubing. So I'm just using the two tubes on this side, and I've now plugged it into a different type of adapter, which makes both the oxygen and the hydrogen go into like a Y adapter, and then it goes into the water, and then I've basically attached it to a cannula. And what I've done on the other side is I've just got the hydrogen going straight into the water, and then it's gone into a different bit of equipment. So this is the kind of goggles that you can buy, and what it does is it allows you to put the goggles on and get hydrogen kind of into the eyes, and also these here are earplugs, so it puts it into the ears as well. So if you've got ear or eye, or kind of you just want to get hydrogen to those areas, this is a really good piece of equipment to have. So I'm going to show you myself wearing both of these, but it means that you can put both bits of equipment plugged in, and you can use the cannula and you can use the goggles at the same time. So I've got my cannula all connected to this side of the machine. So it's going to have 300 millilitres of oxygen per minute, and it's going to have 300 millilitres per minute of hydrogen. So that will be Brown's gas in a 1-to-1 ratio. And so I put the cannula on just in the nostrils, wrap it around the ears, and there you go, that's on. And I've got my goggles, and so and then you've got your earplugs, and some people like to wrap them around the top of the ears first, some people the other way around, but as long as the earplugs go in, it doesn't really matter. You can have that little loop just hanging out to the sides if you wish. So just for ease, I'm just going to put them in like that. Everything is ready to go. I can then press start on the machine, and You can probably maybe hear that the machine has started. In a moment we can see the bubbling in both sides, and I can feel the very faint flow of Brown's gas through the nostrils, and I'm also getting the whole of my eyes and the area around the eyes, so it could be a bit of a beauty treatment as well. Getting the skin nourished around the eyes, and I'm getting the hydrogen into my ears as well. So this could be particularly good for people with allergies, hay fever, who need to really maybe dampen down the inflammatory response in the ears and the eyes and in the nose as well. But breathing in the Brown's gas is going to go into the lungs, and it's going to saturate the blood, and it's going to then get into the cells. So this is a very amazing thing that you can do with this machine. If we were using the other Brown's gas machine, we would have to do the goggles separately to doing the cannula.